With Halloween right around the corner, let's get in a spooky mood with some fan-made Pokemon with terrifying origins. Hey everyone, Brandon here. Many Pokemon throughout the history of the franchise have had creepy origins, but it stands to reason that those in the Fakemon community would do the same and make some creepy Pokemon of their own. So let's talk about some. Just a disclaimer before we begin, there are some very scary and mature tales and imagery in this video, so if you're easily affected by that, be warned and continue at your own peril. These first few will all be from the Lewika region by Micomon Regions. First up is Gremlire, a pure dark type. Gremlire is based on the Tokoloshe. The Tokoloshe are a dwarf or gremlin-like water spirit that can turn invisible when drinking water or swallowing a stone. A Tokoloshe is created by a witch doctor for someone who is looking to curse another person, whether that just be scaring children or causing a person to fall ill or even die. The payment for creating a Tokoloshe is the soul of a loved one. Which loved one is picked by the Tokoloshe and will reap its reward weeks, months, or even years later. Gremlire has a similar propensity for tormenting and cursing people, but not nearly as viciously as its inspiration. Next is the rebirth form of Lewekin Mightyena, which is a dark fairy type. You guys know I had to include a clown in this video, right? The clown isn't the only terrifying part of this form though. It is also inspired by the tale of the were-hyena. Think werewolf, but swap in a hyena instead. Also called the Buddha, no, not that Buddha. It was believed that all blacksmiths were were-hyenas and would rob graves at night and return to their human form at dawn. Unlike were-hyenas, Lewekin Mightyena just returns to being a hyena after exiting its rebirth form. Lastly from Michael is the rebirth form of Junglide, a grass dark type. This form is based on an African cryptid named the Popobawa, which quite literally translates to Batwing. This creature is actually the stuff of nightmares. It is an evil spirit with the appearance of a humanoid bat and one eye, which caused a major outbreak of mass hysteria across Zanzibar in the 1990s. It would supposedly go from household to household, attacking every member of the family within it, both physically and with poltergeist-like fear tactics. It is also said to be a sleep paralysis demon of sorts, leading some to theorize this creature may be related to an incubi or succubi. The outbreak majorly took place on Pemba Island, one of the islands of Zanzibar, in which the massive Pemba flying bat is found, which is actually the basis for normal Junglide. But this enormous bat could serve as an explanation for the sightings of the Popobawa, but that's just my theory. A cryptid theory! The rest of these horrifying Pokemon are from the Mojave region by Tubbs AZ. So here is Yorubi and Lorona, both ghost water type and based on the tale of La Llorona, or the Weeping Woman. Her story goes something like this. There was once an indigenous woman named Maria who married a rich conquistador, to which she bore 2 children. One day, Maria came upon her husband having an affair. In a fit of blind rage, she drowned both her children, which she immediately regretted. Consumed by guilt and unable to save them, she drowned herself as well. But she was unable to pass on to the afterlife because of her terrible actions. Forced to live in limbo and roam the earth in search of her children, she can sometimes be heard at night by waterfronts, wailing and sobbing, looking for children to keep for herself in murky purgatory. Fun fact, in the Pixar movie Coco, Mama Imelda and Ernesto de la Cruz sing the song La Llorona, which is about this tale. Just a little cheerful break for you amidst this spooky video. Obviously, you can see the weeping aspects incorporated into Yorubi and Lorona's designs, but Lorona's name also comes from lure, because it also incorporates La Llorona's luring of children. They both also use shrieks and wails as attacks, like another well-known monster, the Banshee. Next is Hauntlet, Dullahan, and Necromanos. Hauntlet is a ghost type based on disembodied hands, kind of like Thing from the Addams Family. Dullahan and Necromanos, on the other hand, see what I did there? Anyway, they are ghost psychic types based on a Japanese urban legend and a yokai. Dullahan is based on the Teke Teke, an onryo or vengeful spirit of a schoolgirl who fell onto a railway line and was cut in half. Since she only has half her body left, she walks around on her hands and elbows. If you encounter a Teke Teke, you better have worked on your cardio, because she will chase you, hoping to cut you in half to match her. Necromanos is based on a yokai called the Tenome, the ghost of a blind man who was robbed and killed, and in the afterlife gained eyes on the palms of their hands, desperately trying to get one last look at the scoundrels who committed this heinous act. A popular example of the Tonome is the Pale Man from Pan's Labyrinth. While Dullahan and Necromanos aren't exactly deadly revenge seekers, they do very much enjoy terrifying individuals and eating their fear. They will use their psychic-type powers to craft the perfect scares. Now for some eerie variants of some fan-favorite Pokemon. So here is Mohaven Hatena and Hatrim, which are both dark types, but they evolve into Hatrix, a dark flying type. Hatena and Hatrim are both based on things commonly associated with witches, like brooms and a witch's hat. But they also bring in a nest and owl inspiration, which culminates with Hatrix. Why an owl? Well, that comes with Hatrix's inspiration of La Lechuza. La Lechuza was a witch that was exposed for practicing the devil's magic, and was subsequently killed for it. As a form of revenge, she came back as a massive owl with the face of a woman to terrorize her persecutors. Legends say that the cry of La Lechuza mimics the cry of a baby or whistles, and they use it to lure you outside, to take you so they can make you their meal. In some tales, La Lechuza was simply a woman who was killed by a drunkard and now seeks revenge on all drunkards. This is reflected in Hatrix's dex entry, in which yelling and foul language will scare it off. Of course, we have to give the Hatena line's counterpart some love as well. So here is Mohaven Impidimp and Morgrim, which are also both pure dark type, that then evolve into Grimville, a dark fire type. They are all based on changelings, goatmen, and the Jersey Devil. The Jersey Devil, also known as the Leeds Devil, is a cryptid that is said to inhabit the pinelands of southern New Jersey. It is described as a bipedal, flying, hooved creature with the wings of a bat, a goat-like head, and a forked tail. The tale of the creature goes like this. A resident of the Pine Barrens of New Jersey named Jane Leeds, known as Mother Leeds, was a mother to 12 children. Upon finding out she was pregnant with her 13th child, she cursed it, saying that the child would be the devil. Later, on a stormy night, Jane would give birth to that child, which at first appeared as a normal child, but would then change into this horrifying creature and attack its siblings and mother before escaping into the woods. In some tales, Jane was a witch and the father was the devil himself. Believe it or not, there is some truth to this story. Mother Leeds actually existed. There was a woman named Deborah Leeds, whose husband, Japhet Leeds, named 12 children in his will in 1736. This is like if Cheaper by the Dozen was a horror film. Grimville takes that devilish inspiration in with its Baphomet-like appearance and fire typing. Next is Praulobos, a pure dark type. Praulobos is based on two very frightening things in particular. The first is the Navajo myth of the Skinwalkers. Skinwalkers are a type of witch that can transform into different animals, though in most renditions it is a coyote or wolf. Navajo healers in their training learn about both good and evil magic. Some can handle that responsibility, but others become corrupt, turning to the dark side to become witches or skinwalkers. An encounter with a skinwalker is almost always a life or death struggle, with some killing the skinwalker or escaping to tell the tale. The other point of inspiration for Praulobos is SCP-096, a pale humanoid figure with long arms and legs. While it is usually a shy and docile creature, if you see its face, no matter if it is directly or through a video feed, there is nothing known to man that can stop it from finding you and